What we have here, okay, so we're in voice circle talk. Okay, I'm just going to go launch. Okay, so we had a bit of an issue with some of these architectural diagrams the last couple of days, but I think we've fixed it now. So this is how we're going to see or evaluate the overall architecture of what we've created. Okay, you'll see here that you can sort of see the general view, like we've got our SRC folder and then a whole range of folders in that. We've also got Superbase, which has our Superbase functions, right? But these, visually being able to see it like this quickly is just such a huge benefit, right? Like when I go into things like apps or open source projects that I don't know that much about, and I see folders and files like this, I honestly get so utterly confused. And so, this is how I've been able to understand things better. And I think what you'll find is that you will as well if you explore your apps in this sort of way. Okay, so you see here, if we just do a quick evaluation. Okay, so it goes through the main, then through the app. Okay, then we've got components, UI components, avatar components. So you think about those actual visual components that we have. Not too worried about any of that other stuff. Okay, and then we've got hooks. These are sort of like the actions that are happening off our components, right? So use avatar state, use ElevenLabs conversation. Then we've got some utilities, context, integrations. Okay, this is actually one of the better charts that I've seen in one shot. So it's very, 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 very cool. Okay, so this just gives us an idea. Okay, and when you do this more and more, you start seeing the patterns. Like this is such a common pattern for developing within these particular tools, particularly Lovable. Okay, so when you're developing, Lovable kickstarts the project, but then you need to. What I'm finding is that you just want to start building the front end first. Okay, start building the front end first. Just keep developing it out. Just keep getting as far as you can before you get too specific. Like just get the core outline, the core scaffold of your application, and then you can come back and get more specific later on, like more niche in the edits that you might want to make to the front end. But just get the core of it done. So when I first started, I very likely just like had a circle with a few elements around it. I didn't actually have these images or anything like that. I sorted that out later. But yeah, get that scaffold up and then get some of the core functions like API calls sorted as well. So in that case, the API call that I needed to get done was ElevenLabs, right? ElevenLabs was the key one. And that is what we created here. So ElevenLabs service. What happened was I actually developed another AI voice application, maybe, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks ago. And I'd already sort of sorted this out. I didn't wrap it in this sort of front end or this style that I've done with Avatar Roulette, but it had the core connection to ElevenLabs already sorted. So I was able to actually utilize this code again in here, even though what it looked like on the front end was very, very different. Because if you think about what we've got to do, we've got to connect, and this is what I had sort of visualized in my mind before, as I was sort of building it out, was we need to connect to ElevenLabs via the API, but we need to dynamically send in a different agent ID for any click that someone makes here, right? That's sort of the key dynamic function that we need to run, or key dynamic thing that we need to feed into the code so that every time we make a click, it knows that it's this agent. It knows that it's Roger. It knows that it's that agent ID. The API key is not going to change because the API key is it's going to be the same API key regardless, but it's the agent ID feed that we need to be quite specific about. And so what we can do is we can actually ask here, right? So we can say, where in the code does the dynamic agent ID get captured? The agent ID is captured in start conversation method. Okay, so, yep, okay. There we go. And passed when starting the ElevenLabs conversation. So you see here that what we've enabled here is that you can create, like you can talk to your application. So you can talk to your files, and it's dynamic. So you can come in here and you can select any file, and then right within this environment, you can start talking away. Oh, have a good question. Can these be made for clients? Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually I'm in discussions with someone to do just that. Yeah, 100%. Like this is the opportunity. This is the AI wave, and the opportunity in the AI wave, right? Like a lot of this stuff hasn't even been built yet. Like there's so much to build in this space. It's unbelievable. One of the other interesting realizations from building this application that is really significant is that it's not only having the discussion with the AI. It's actually, there's a lot of value in analyzing those conversations, like analyzing what those conversations were. So for example, in a learning environment, we could use the AI to see where there maybe is gaps in a student's learning, for example, right? Because you could evaluate their conversations that they're having with the AI. So that's just one very unique example, but there is thousands of examples like that from what I'm seeing. So we can do things like explain, because this is the key code. This is the key code. So what happens is you select, it then goes and makes the call to ElevenLabs. The ElevenLabs API does all the work after that, right? Like, so they've got this, like the API that they have is phenomenally good, and all you have to do is connect to it, right? And then you build your own front end off the back of that. That's what I've really been amazed about in the process of building this, is that it's actually not, the documentation they have, the way that they've set it up is they're making a lot of the harder stuff quite easy, which is great. Okay, so let's just give me an overview of this code. Okay, so let's just get an overview of what this code is actually doing. So it manages voice conversations using the ElevenLabs API, dynamically loads the ElevenLabs client library, and requests microphone permissions, starts, ends, and configures conversations with ElevenLabs. Provides callbacks, volume control, export. I'm not quite sure what that is, but defines types for conversation status and mode. Okay, so this is the absolute key file. Another thing you can do here, right? Okay, so this is quite cool. So say we want to like truly understand it even deeper, so we can go code visualizer here. So we're trying to create a visual representation of what's going on. Okay, so initialize library, request permission, signed URL. Okay, so this is a little bit different to how we've had it in the past. It's quite interesting. Okay, so start conversation. So check library loaded. Yes. Check active conversation. No. Request mic permission. Okay, so this is sort of the core underlying part of what's actually going on. So update status to connecting, get signed URL for agent, start session with callbacks, return success status. Yep. Cool. Okay, so that's kind of visually how it's actually working. Okay. If we want to go explain simply, this code creates a service that manages voice conversations using ElevenLabs API. So we're trying to make it, like, as you can see here, we're trying to make it as easy as possible to really dig into how certain code or certain files actually work within your entire application. So really what we needed to do, and Lovable will obviously help with this, is that, okay, so you build your front-end components like this, and then on click here, that's when we need to initialize that service. We need to initialize that service, go and go and run all of that flow, which happens with that code file. Okay. So that's I would say that the absolute core part of the application. So one of the other like unique key things that I've really started to be across a lot more now is the idea of pages and components. So basically your front end. Okay, so this was honestly like I would say I don't know, 6 to 9 months ago. How this all got created and was structured was still a bit of a mystery to me, coming from a non-developer background. But now I really get it. Okay, I really get it, and I can build things out quite quickly within these AI dev tools. But I can imagine what's going on in my mind at the same time, which really helps, right? Like I'm thinking about how to structure components together now quite quickly to build the front end that I want. So as an example of something that's insanely useful is these dependencies. Okay, so this might look like quite a busy chart initially, right? But what it is this all of these together that are connected up to the avatars page. So the avatars page in our front end is this page here. Oh no, actually, sorry, it's this page here. This is our avatars page. You can see up here avatars in Lovable. Okay, so all this is these are all of the components, all of the individual components within our page. Okay, in theory, you could have all of these components, all of these in one file if you really wanted to. But the best way to build these applications in the AI with these AI dev tools is to build in a very, very modular way, because it enables them to just understand the context of what's going on a lot better if you have shorter files. Okay, so instead of having a single file that's just called avatars in the pages folder, right? Instead of having a single file that's 1,000 rows long, it's better to have this as a much smaller file or code file, and then having the components within it all separated out. Okay, that's how you can get a lot more detailed in your components and make your applications look that much better.